We have a lot to get into, so let's get into it. T.Y. Hilton, the wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, who just signed a one-year deal, $10 million, said he was 5 seconds away from signing with the Baltimore Ravens. He was going to make more money to go to Baltimore. He was going to have a chance to play with Lamar Jackson. But he chose loyalty over money and also being in more of an open-ended offense, of getting the ball more in open space. And I think that's probably the right choice that he could have made, because this team suits him. He's been with this team for a decade. He knows the coach. He knows the whole playbook. He knows the style, the way they want to play. It just seemed like the better option for him. The Giants have signed Danny Shelton to a one-year deal. We think it's vet minimum. No information otherwise has come out. The Raiders have signed wide receiver Willie Snead. And these two guys, I both like the signings. I think Willie Snead is a slot receiver more than an outside receiver. And so I don't know if he's really going to replace Nelson Aguilar on the outside. And Danny Shelton, when the Giants brought in Danny Shelton, it makes a whole lot of sense. You lost Dalvin Tomlinson, a good run stopper. He can get back and stop the quarterback and frustrate you. And he's just an all-tool defensive lineman. Danny Shelton is that kind of player. It's just really, will he perform at a very high level? Leighton Vander Esch, the Cowboys linebacker, was taken off the PUP list this past week, along with Sean Lee. The questions are, can they stay healthy? The other question with Sean Lee is he coming back next year? Is he going into coaching? Is he coming back as a player? How is he going to perform? The difference with LVE is Leighton Vander Esch has missed so much time. Has that really ruined his development as a player? Sean Lee, the chances of him becoming a coach in the future are very high, because he's a very smart guy. That team plays better when he's on the field and explain what's supposed to happen. So he's a real team leader. But he hasn't played a full season since 2019. Leighton Vander Esch hasn't played a full season since 2018. The PUP list is a way to say players that are unable to perform. It's the players unable to perform list. That's why it was changed to PUP list. All these players go on it mostly. Dak Prescott is on the PUP list for starters. So it's really interesting. Can these guys stay healthy? Can Leighton Vander Esch finally stay healthy and come back into that 2018 peak Leighton Vander Esch? And will Sean Lee come back next year? Those are the two questions surrounding the Cowboys. The San Francisco 49ers, before the trade transpired, planned to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. But we'll get to that more in a second. KJ Wright has said he's interested in going to Dallas because Dan Quinn, his former defensive coordinator in Seattle, is now the defensive coordinator in Dallas. This is a kind of a shocker, but KJ Wright's still a good football player. But he's on the older side. And I think if you are talking about KJ Wright, you need to see this guy can play all the same positions. He can play all the positions at linebacker. He's a good cover linebacker. The question that I have is, if KJ Wright does go to the Cowboys, how many years does he want? How much money does he want? And where does he play in the system? Those are really the three questions. Where does he play in the system? How much money does he want? And how many years does he want? Because he is a good player, and he fits Dan Quinn's system really well. And since Dan Quinn's been the defensive coordinator, they brought in Dan Quinn guys like Keanu Neal, DeMonte Casey, and a few others that he's known around the block a few times. The former Cowboy safety Xavier Woods has signed a one-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll really get to it in a minute, but it's worth $2.25 million. The Ravens have signed Sammy Watkins to a one-year deal with $6 million, and I like this move because Sammy Watkins is a good receiver. He's good in open space. He moves very quickly. He's got good feet. He's got good hands. And you can really pose the question, Sammy Watkins, besides Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, and Travis Kelce, has the best hands on the team by quite a bit. So I think moving him, going to Baltimore helps you because you're not going to have a guy who demands the ball a lot. So you can still do the running kind of style you like, but you have a guy who can go on the outside and play the football. It's a great strategy to have. The New England Patriots plan is to, and it might come into fruition due to the trade that San Francisco has been in, that they plan to either acquire Jimmy Garoppolo or go trade up in the draft. Those two things could happen. We'll see. Jaron Reed signs a one-year deal with the Chiefs. There was a rumor going around that after Jaron Reed got released from the Seahawks that he was going to go to Dallas because he knows Dan Quinn. But he decides to go with the Chiefs and try and fix a run defense that isn't really there and they desperately need. DeMonte Casey's contract details have come out over the last week. It's a one-year deal worth $1.127 million. A very cheap deal. And the reason why I waited to explain what the Xavier Woods and how Xavier Woods and DeMonte Casey's contracts are connected. Casey's contract and Xavier Woods' contract tells you that the market for safeties are not very good. And so you gotta just get on a team to get out of there. One of the teams that I would be concerned about when the Vikings signed Xavier Woods, they said that Xavier Woods was a great cover corner. He could play slot corner. No, he can't. He plays the ball. No, he can't. He has 4 interceptions in his career. DeMonte Casey had 7 interceptions in the season. He's a pretty good tackler, and he's a 6th-round draft choice that became a starter. Those two things are true. The last two are true. But the first two are not. So it just tells you that these two guys, the market is not good for them, and their media is almost having to push them into teams. A 17-game season was announced that there will be 17 games per team, and Alvin Kamara is one of those guys who said he doesn't like this idea because it's a lot to work on. You're going to have one less preseason game, which it's better than no preseason games because it's going to help out late round draft choices and undrafted players, but it is a lot to think of, and it's very brutal on your body. But I think people look at this and they're like, well, we can make a lot of money if we add an extra game. That's what happened. Would not be surprised if this happens again moving forward. Maybe they jump to 18, 19 games. Who knows? Also in the KZ contract, it's $387.5 thousand guaranteed. The trade that went through Miami, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, this is pretty much what happened. It's a mini trade since the Dolphins traded Laramie Tunsil. In that trade, they got 4 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third. Miami gets a 2021 pick, the number 6 pick, and number 156. via the Eagles, a 2022 first round pick, and a third round pick via the 49ers, a 2023 first round pick by the 49ers. To the 49ers, they get a 2021, this year's draft, the third pick via the Dolphins. The Eagles got the number 12 overall pick from the Dolphins via the 49ers. The 49ers also would get number 123 in the 2022 draft. Number 123 in the 2021 draft, and 2022 a 2022 first round pick via the Dolphins. And one of the final segments is Tyler Lockett got a big, massive extension. It's a 4-year, $69.2 million contract, $37 million guaranteed. That's $17.3 million a year. Just trying to keep Russell Wilson around, and Russell Wilson seems excited, but I think if you're the Seahawks, you need to give him more, because otherwise he's not going to be here very long. And it comes into this point. The last thing is the 3 of the most exciting 17th games, which the way it looks like it's going to be pushed all over the place, so we don't have to see Chad Henne versus whoever. We have the Seahawks versus the Steelers, which NFL Network named the Waterloo Bowl, this could be the last game that we see Ben Roethlisberger play, and this could be the last game in his career, and this could be the last game that we see Russell Wilson play in Seattle. The Packers face off the Chiefs, and I'm calling this the Mega Bowl, or the Media Bowl, I should say. It has Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the truthful guys in this league, and you have the media go in Patrick Mahomes, which the media adores. And that will be a great game. Won't be surprised if that's put to Sunday night. We'll see. And the final game is the Cowboys versus the Patriots. Again, a game that I would not be surprised if it's on Monday night. And I'm calling this the Billionaire Bowl. Basically, it surrounds the 2 billionaires, Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft. Jerry Jones, it's how much sponsorship deals I can make, and Robert Kraft, it's how many championships we've been to since you've been to the last one. They talk a lot of smack to each other, but they're the 2 most respected owners in the league. But what do you guys think? What do you think of the Tyler Lockett extension? And do you think the Miami Dolphins did the right thing to trade back in the draft and then retrade to go back up? You decide.